Over to you. Okay, he was first.
You know, if the public would, more of the public would voice their opinion to the government, I think that would change it a lot, because we sit back and gripe and do nothing. Well, we don't lobby. We don't do anything. And we're getting what we deserve.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that what knocked the wind out of my sails was the Tea Party. When, to me, I think almost, I don't know, is there anybody in here that believes that the government should give our money to banks? Anyone? Raise your hand. Okay, so no one, you know, but when that happened, everybody in America is like, wait, what? You're going to give our money to the banks? You know, and then this whole thing, Rick Santelli gets on the floor, and I thought, yeah, I can totally, I mean, that's it. We finally figured out that you can't imagine that these people are going to give all this money to Goldman Sachs after Goldman Sachs got involved in all these derivatives. I can't imagine that you know, these people played and lost, but yet we cover the loss, and if they would have won, they get the winnings. So the basic gist of it is that I don't think that we should have, and that's how the Tea Party started. That's how the Tea Party got started, and it was such a great movement. But then all of a sudden you notice Sarah Palin and all these other people get involved in the Tea Party, and they're just like, it's about God and guns and war, and it's like, wait a minute, no it wasn't. It was about, I mean, the Tea Party was about stopping the government from taking your money. It was about ending corruption. That's what it was about. But the whole thing was hijacked. And I think that if you see a movement and you see something started, all of a sudden you'll see people start to manipulate that movement in order to make their own gains. And that's what happened to the Tea Party. The Tea Party, they were like, oh my God, this is actually going to shrink the size of government. And then the right came in and said, oh, we can't have that. And so now, you know, you've got John Boehner and Pete Sessions, Eric Cantor, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell. You got all these guys who are darlings of the Tea Party, right? Because they're going to stand up for you. But the thing is these are the same people that voted for the bailouts. It's like a bait and switch. You were sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is you know, we've got these. Oh, I wonder what we're going to do. All these Republicans or Tea Party people are just led by the noses. Next thing they know, they're standing directly in front of the same people that they were fighting against in the first place.
But wouldn't a lot of people's 401ks and IRAs just disappeared had we not done something?
Didn't a lot of people's 401ks? I mean, a lot more. Well, that's what they say, but at the same time, it's not. I believe a lot of those people, a lot of those things that people had invested in, those investments still stay there. Now, I mean, you know, you also create opportunity for people to get rich when things become the price that they're supposed to be. What we have is a giant bubble, and it was allowed to blow up because our government allowed this bubble to blow up. And now, when it should have, a bubble isn't good, and when it should have collapsed, we didn't allow it to collapse. So now we're just sitting here pitching money in to keep the bubble up for as long as we can. But eventually it's got to collapse. So everything that we do is just an attempt to help the banks, or help, you know, right now the banks are like, oh, we're doing great. Of course you are. Of course you're doing great. We gave you all this money. We bought all these derivatives. The worst thing, people don't even know. Let's talk about the Federal Reserve for a second. People don't even know that the Federal Reserve said, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Federal Reserve gave like $16 trillion. 16 trillion. Okay? We were talking about 800 billion is the number for the bailouts. But the Fed had bought $16 trillion worth of assets. Now you say, well, I don't remember all this. Well, because the Fed operates in open market operations. They can buy any object that they want. Normally, they buy treasury bonds. But in this case, the Fed is also able to buy anything that they want. So they bought derivatives. What derivatives? AIG's derivatives. They bought the derivatives that Goldman Sachs created. They bought all this stuff that you heard about that was nasty and horrible and everything else. And then the Fed just said, well, we got 16 trillion over here, 16 trillion over there. Our books are balanced. That's not balanced. This is a big pile of crap. This is a horrible set of derivatives, and this was your $16 trillion that you will pay the debt on, that will inflate your money, because whenever the Fed injects money to buy anything, including these derivatives, they're devaluing the money that's in your pocket.